What is up, everyone? I'm coming at you on the Supermoto, the DRZ, the notorious DRZ. And I'm just right now going over the main reasons I love this bike, and I was about to trade it in or sell it, but I can't bring myself to do it. And I've always been a one-size-fits-all kind of guy, but when it comes to motorcycles, it's very hard to do. It's incredibly hard to... You can't go get a 1000 or anything like that and have it replace the energy you get from a Supermoto. It's not going to happen. You're never going to be able to replace a Supermoto. I don't care what bike you have, unless it's another Supermoto. Maybe a stunt bike you can, but even then, it's still a cool bike. And so I have this bike, I've got an FZ07, and I also have another one that I'm going to grab soon. It is a 1000, and you guys, if you do follow my stuff, you probably have an idea by now of which one it is. But it's a nice bike. It's very expensive, so it's definitely going to sting out of pocket up front, but it's going to be awesome for this channel. So first and foremost, I bought this bike because I had a job to do. This bike's first initial job was to get me around America safely, and that's up and down mountains, that's through Colorado, that's everywhere. That's East Coast to West Coast and through the Mojave Desert. I mean, everywhere. This bike had a seriously important role to play in that trip, because I couldn't think of any bike that would hold up nearly as well, you know? And I mean, now I could, but you know, I wanted a Supermoto, I wanted to do the trip, and I wanted to get home safe. But the other thing that you can't replace about the DRZ SM, and let me just pull over, have a quick look at it for you. Let me show you guys what this bad little girl looks like. This is my bike. You know, graphics kit. It's pretty much just a graphics kit, you know, levers, mirrors, mirror. And I threw on some nice pegs. And, you know, a Yoshi, and I love the Yoshi. And you guys will recognize this. This is obviously a bigger tank as well, because this did do a lot of miles, and don't get hit by a car. This is Electron carb. Everybody knows about Electron carbs, and if you're wondering about them, that's the carb you want. So with that said, let me show you my favorite thing about this bike, besides the fact that they're rock solid bikes. It's probably my favorite part. It's just this. It just cruises. Like, wheeling this bike is so pleasant. Woo! Wave it around, have a good time. You know, actually, let me double back. Just such a fun bike to do it on. You can't go wrong with this bike. That's why I love Supermotos. Just, you know, you go right up, and then you just enjoy your time. You can't beat this bike. Such an awesome bike. It's kind of why you guys can tell why I took these that's why I took these roads. You know, you just, what an awesome bike. So let me take you guys, I'm going to show you something cool, because it wouldn't be a ride of, I'm going to call them episodes of Over the Bars, because I like to get into some other stuff. But for now, let's just get up top in a wheelie for a second, and we'll keep going. So, I'm going to show you guys a cool spot, and it's got a lot of cool history to it. It is, I wonder if you guys look at just right here when I do a wheelie. Anyway, so sorry if all you can see when I do a wheelie is this, but what I want to show you guys is, I'm going to take you to a cool spot. There's a lot of history with it, and it's a short, fast, little snappy intro that I think you guys can get behind. So with that said, we will get over there. I'm going to try and keep the RPMs down. This bike is loud, and even though I put a mic in my left pocket, it's so hard to keep the noise down. But, right. I got to focus on this. I love this tunnel. And again, I have another bike. I have an FZ07, which I love dearly, and I'm also getting another bike, and I was going to get rid of this one, but I decided not to. And I have reasons for why I will never sell this bike. Alright, so the DRZ, my favorite thing and the reason I'll never get rid of it is it's a street legal dirt bike. And what I love is I love how you sit up high, the flat bars, and these tires on a supermoto, I mean on a dirt bike, to actually turn it into a supermoto, the inverted forks, the brakes, everything about this bike is awesome. The only thing is that this bike has a larger tank for me traveling, and I can only fill it up about 1.5 gallons because it really throws off my wheelies, which it loves to slosh around. And I will say, when you get back up on your balance point, this large tank does kind of mess with you. So I will say, with the DRZ, keep the stock tank if you're not doing anything too crazy, you know what I mean? But I came out on this video with absolutely zero plan for what I was going to say to you guys, so hopefully I can pull together some good reasons why I really like this bike. So woo, keep it on the road. Little cross speeds. This bike is so light. I'm not going to say it's the lightest, because it's not the lightest dirt bike, but the wind does throw you off, which is something you got to get used to. And so the other thing is, it's just the suspension on a dirt bike is always so much more forgiving than a street bike, which is why I really enjoy this thing. And you know, suspension has a lot of play with pretty much everything: your wheelies, your traction on-road, your traction off-road, all that stuff. So is the DRZ fast? Is this a fast bike? I mean, it's not bad. It's really not bad. 0 to 70, it's a fun little ripper. You know, it's a fun little ripper, 0 to 70. I'll give you guys a little 0 to 70 run up here. But it's not going to be like, you're not doing highway pulls with it. There's no way. There's no way you're going to be, you're not going to be doing like 100 the whole time or 90. This is not a fast bike as far as top end goes, but 0 to 70, 0 to 80, you're going to have a lot of fun on this bike. If you're cool with 0 to 70, 0 to 80 miles an hour, you know, zipping around town, hopping on the highways periodically, you're going to really enjoy this bike. But if that's not going to do it, yeah, you need another bike. And we haven't even gotten into, I got a lot of stuff going on in my head, and I'm trying to consolidate it into my thoughts so I can come at you guys with this. Because I have to go on a trip to Florida in a couple of days. Tomorrow, I leave for Florida tomorrow to go on a trip, and not on this, but just a regular trip with some boys. And I've got to leave tomorrow, so I'm trying to get this video done today. It's been so dark and cloudy the entire day, it's driving me absolutely nuts. I mean, it's driving me completely nuts. But, you know, as of tomorrow night, I'm going to be in nice sunny Florida, and I'll be good. I'll be a very happy guy. I really wanted to take you guys kind of through the countryside, so I'm going the opposite way. I'm right outside of the city of Portland, but I'd rather take you guys this way, get you a little bit better views. And there's also something out here I really want to show you guys that I'm sure a lot of you guys will appreciate. So the other thing I love about this bike more than anything, my favorite part, because I'm like 6'1", so you know I'm a decently tall guy, and this is a tall bike. I love how it just, you know, it's only a 400, but it's a very specific 400 as far as how the whole bike's designed. Like it has a specific task, and it only needs 400 cc's to do it, and it does it really well. And you could look at like a Husky 701 and bikes like that, but this is still going to be a lot narrower than most of those. Those are amazing bikes, but you got to remember too, this is a DRZ. The market on this thing is dirt cheap. Not so much this one, because I bought it brand new. I actually bought it brand new last year. It's got 12,422 miles, but that's one of the major things I love, is how tall this bike is. So let's get on the road here. I'll give you guys a quick little 0 to 70. There's actually there might be a baseball game over that hill, so I should be careful. Oop, kickstand stall. So I'll get after it a little bit. bad. You know, it's a quick little 70. It's not a 1000. It's not the FZ. It does it. You know, it's a little 400. It does a good job at it. It's a thumper. And the other point is, you know, you can really, I mean, shit. You know what I mean? Like, you can just, and then it hooks up on the tar again. It's just such a fun light bike. And that's the other thing I learned is, I went to go sell this bike, and I had some messages, I had some trade-in offers, but the thing that would get me is, then I don't have a Supermoto. Yeah, it's nice to get the trade-in, yeah, it's nice to sell the bike, and especially when you're paying out of pocket for the new bike, it really helps. And you know what, this bike is not worth getting rid of, because what are you going to do? You're going to replace this bike with money? I mean, I'd much rather have this motorcycle than some cash in the bank. It's definitely had a role, and not even just the fact that I'd rather have the bike than money, also the fact, the sentimental value. This little machine here took me about 12,000 miles around the entire country, and I really needed this thing to pull through in a lot of cases, and it did. Every single time this bike pulled through. I could not have asked for a better bike. Could I have had a better bike? Yeah, but for that situation, this thing absolutely pulled through, and I was really happy with it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you something very cool that I'm sure a lot of you guys don't actually know the history of this, because, and yeah, it's an Over the Bars episode. This is actually only episode 2, which means nobody's going to see it, but that doesn't matter because you got to start somewhere. So I'm going to show you guys a cool piece of history about the Indian Wars. Now, if you live in southern Maine, the Indian Wars on the coast of Maine were absolutely ruthless. And actually, here it is. I already drove by it. So, and I'll get into it in a second and give you some more info. And I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting on the shitter, so I'll keep this kind of fast for you guys. So right here, I don't know, maybe I won't cut this video. So right now we are at an old blockhouse. So this is a little replica, and I've actually seen these in real life where they still have them. And so what happened was, back in the day, and I see how colonial this area is. This is a sweet spot. This is just on the other direction of Portland, about the same distance. So this is a blockhouse. This is a little replica of what was here. And this is what they would look like, but you know, they'd be massive. So this blockhouse took up, you can see this is the foundation right here. And then the idea is, right, I mean, I'm not going to get into too much on why a blockhouse works, but they're very defendable. So this is where it was. There's an old well over there, and this big blockhouse here, when all the Indians would come and attack, they would defend, you know, you'd have all the people in their houses, the little villages, everything. These people would actually come hide in this blockhouse, and yeah, they had cannons in the top windows, stuff like that. Really interesting, but it's just a little piece of history. And not long ago, I mean, this is 100 or 200 years ago, that Indians and Mainers were fighting. It was incredible. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, but it happened, and you know, I think it's important to know the cool history behind this. But while I'm here, I'm also, and this is going to be in the long version, this won't be online as far as a short goes, because again, we're all sitting on shitters half the time, so you know, when we're on reels, so I don't want to make you guys watch some long video. But there's the well, there's the original well for this blockhouse. So anyway, they actually did sell this blockhouse for a couple bushels of corn, and it got used as a pig barn. So the OG blockhouse is gone, sold for a couple bushels of corn, and got turned into a pig barn. But with that said, I just wanted to show you guys that, and maybe I'll give you a little insight on what actually happened, because you know, everybody's got all these opinions on Indians and Americans and colonizing, and I'll speak on behalf of Maine's history with Native Americans and Native Americans' history with Mainers, just for a little bit of context. And I'm going to put this in the long form video on purpose, because I'd like, you know, it's not a short one to explain. So So especially with Maine, right? Especially in Maine, Mainers and Native Americans have always historically gotten along incredibly well. But what ended up throwing a wrench in everything was when Massachusetts, the head of the colony, made us disarm them, right? Let's do a little, I can't not wheelie this hill. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I can't say no to this. Oh, I missed a shift. Oh no. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh my God, I just massacred that hill. That is not good. So, the history with Native Americans and Mainers, very simply put, Mainers and Native Americans have always gotten along in the past. And where the issues came up was when the head of the colony of Massachusetts forced the Mainers to disarm the Indians. And you know, they voluntarily disarmed. They said, okay, we'll settle this later. So the Mainers and the Indians, all they wanted to do was resolve the situation so the Indians could go back to hunting for their own food. Because yeah, they did use rifles and shotguns, stuff like that, to get their food. So the thing is, they couldn't get their food, the Indians are starving, Massachusetts wanted to disarm the Americans, and all the Mainers are doing everything they can, and everybody's going at Massachusetts saying, let them have guns, you know, we're all getting along great. And they said, well no, we don't want them to join the French. Well, when the Indians are starving to death, and they don't have any guns, and they can't defend themselves, what do? They turn to the French. Hence, the French-Indian War. And what actually happened around here was, they joined the French, and they fought against the Mainers. And now Maine and the Indians were at war. Who would have thought? Two people that got along great and have gotten along great before and gotten along great after or during got thrown into a conflict where they had to hate each other. Who would have believed that the government would do that? I don't know. I didn't know the government did that. But anyway, so it's very tragic. The history with Mainers and Native Americans was tremendous, and until it wasn't. And everybody was forcefully thrown into a conflict because the Indians needed to survive, feed themselves, protect themselves, and the Mainers were just trying to kind of buffer the whole thing over. Oh, gee, sorry. And the Mainers were just trying to buff everything over, which, as you know, didn't work out. So that's the history of the Indian Wars in Maine. And there was just loads of massacres. It's a really sad history. And there's actually a lot of foundation holes around here that just don't have a house in it for that reason. Woo! I saw a brewery down here. I'm not much of like a brewery guy, but I'll tell you what, going and getting a good meal sounds so nice right now with a beer. Oh my God, that sounds like a good call. Let's do that, and then we'll finish this ride. I do not want to sit in the middle of the road right now. Is that motorcycle parking? What? You're kidding. Let's get some food. Little baseball game. Oh man, I remember Little League. So I pulled over earlier. I don't know if you guys saw it in the video, but so I pulled over to a brewery, right? This brewery's known to have good food. So I go and I get some food, and I have a camera on my helmet, and this guy's drunk at the bar, and he goes, what's that, just to record your own death? You know, and it's like the whole stigma behind motorcycles is pretty ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's especially when you're into bikes, you're experienced on bikes, you've ridden a lot of bikes, like you're not, you know, in your first 1 to 5 years, you're doing pretty good. And it's absolutely amazing to me that people, I don't know what that dude's doing. Oh my God, he's driving like a mile an hour. So what kind of blows my mind is how somebody's going to go their entire life and not try a bike once. You know, not even once. You're not going to try a bike once. They're just so scared. You know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of being boring, having a shit life, not doing anything cool like that dude. You know what I mean? Like, that dude's pumped to see a supermoto. How do you not enjoy this? I mean, the vibe on a bike is completely and utterly unmatched by anything except maybe like a rocket ship. You know, oh, he's got a traffic cone. That's a construction worker. That's how you know. That's why it's in there. But it's always going to be mind-blowing. How are people so nervous and scared? You know what I mean? Are you going to be that scared your whole life? You're not even going to try a bike? Not just once, not even a little bit? Right? They say, oh, your motorcycle's dangerous, and then they'll go smash a whole 8-ball that weekend. You know, bikes are dangerous. Boom, 8-ball up the nose. You know? That's pretty impressive to me. That's an absolutely incredible performance. To say motorcycles are dangerous, watch me bang this lace fentanyl 8-ball up my nostrils, you know, in about 4 hours, not even. But yeah, that's just crazy. It's crazy to know somebody's out of shape, eating processed foods, doing drugs all the time, drunk, and they're going to critique a motorcycle and call it dangerous. You know? But alright, let's get in here. Get some drink. Get some drink, boys.